Hi guys, it's Andy the Expedition Hiker, and I've got a bit of kit for you for today. Now, on my last wild camp I did mention about a sleeping mat that I used or have been using for basically the last year. So I've really tested it and trialled it out. So here it is, and it is the Mountain Equipment Aerostat 7 synthetic mat, and I have the long wide one. Now, first things first, it comes in around 730 grams, and that includes the mat itself and the actual bag. Now, the bag has its own little pump system in it that we'll speak about in a moment. Now, as you can see, it is a greyish colour, but this is called Ombre Blue. It is a 3 to 4 season mat. And actually, it's got an ASTM R value of 5.0. When the item was made originally, they did testing in Alaska up to -40, and it seemed to cope through that. Now, it is meant to be on average, or what it says in the specs, is that you can go down to -27 with this mat. And the reason why? Well, it's got its actually own like polar fleece built into it. It's actually a 700 goose down filling built into the mat itself, which that's one of the things that keeps it quite light but still gives that great insulation value. Its price is basically about £135, which is what I paid about a year ago, and I think it still sits around that price now. And it is probably the warmest really mat you can get in the UK, other than obviously buying one of the American mats like the Cedar Summit or the Thermarest mats. Mountain Equipment is a UK company, so let's have a look at it in a little bit more detail. So, as I said, it's got its own bag. If we open it up, it's got the usual instructions of how to blow a mat up. If you know, people don't know how to blow things up. So here's the mat itself. It has a two-way inflate and deflate valve. So we can see actually some of the down coming out just here. You would pull out the main one to deflate it. So that's into inflate mode now. And then obviously you would push that in to inflate it. Now, obviously having that polar duck down filling, they don't want really your moisture of the air in your body getting into the mat, because obviously that's going to potentially can make it mouldy and damp inside. So fortunately, let's put the mat down there a moment. It's got this bag. So if you turn it inside out, it's actually becomes a very big bag. And the reason why, because it's got an air pump built into it. So what you would do is at this end of the bag, it's got a connector that I would connect to my mat like this, and click it on. It gives a 100% seal because it actually is built for that particular item. And then if I put this down here, you pull the air out like this, just throw it in like that, and just blow from about 20 centimetres, about 2 breaths. And then roll it up and push the air through. It takes around 9 or 10 of these bagfuls there to inflate the mat. So here we go, there's number one. It does collect a lot of air. But look at that, 6.5 has done it, and it's fully inflated. So there you go, fully inflated at 6 bagfuls of air. And I must admit, I've done this inside my tent several times, and I have had enough space to be able to inflate the mat and blow it up. So as you can see, the actual mat itself has these baffles that go the whole length of the mat. There's, I think, 8 baffles along. Now this mat in particular is the wide and long. Now there are numerous different sizes you can have. There's the standard length one, the regular, which is about 185. Now one of the other things about it is the thickness of the mat. I think it's around 7.5 centimeters, but once you sit on the mat, it holds you in place as well. I have found that I don't slide around on the mat at all. It keeps me in place, which is very good, because I'm a side sleeper, so I do roll around a little bit, but I do seem to wake up on the mat. And other mats I've had problems with that. Beforehand I had the Trekology UL80, although the R value is a lot lower than this, I kept falling off the mat. I wake up in the morning and the mat's on top of me rather than I'm on top of the mat. For this one, I stay on the mat all night long. And it's wide enough for me as a side sleeper. It's long enough for me. I'm 6'3", 191. So generally, it is a good mat. As I said, I've slept on it 4 seasons this year. In fact, I did take it out on a couple of summer camps as well, because it's that comfortable to sleep on. Although there's a little bit of extra weight, it's worthwhile having that extra weight because for a nice comfortable night's sleep. Looking at the stats on the mountain equipment website, it also mentions that it's got the Helix technology, which reduces the down migration. It is a really good mat, and it probably is my best mat I've ever had. Well, I've had quite a few, and I've been testing it for near enough a year. I used it on my winter wild camp last year. I've used it on the winter wild camp this year so far. The first one I went out a couple of weeks ago. I've also used it on numerous other trips in the last year, and it has been great. Inflates well, it keeps its air, and it's just a general great mat overall. Problem is, with all these reviews I seem to keep doing, is I seem to keep buying good gear because I struggle to find the negatives to it. The only negative to this is not the mat itself, but because I bought the long one, it's trying to fit it in my tent. And it's perfect for my Trekology pillow with a strap that fits around it quite well, and again the pillow stays in the same place throughout the night. That's my quick little review on the mountain equipment Aerostat 7.0 synthetic mat. As I said, it's quite wide. It weighs in around 735 grams, so it is a little bit of the heavier weight mat, but for a full season mat, it's worthwhile to have that few little extra grams for a nice comfortable sleep in winter conditions. But any UK or even European weathering conditions, even in the winter, this mat would be perfect for. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Now, I've now become monetized. My YouTube channel has got to the point where I'm monetized now. And I think I've earned a whole £3. But it's nice that I've reached another goal and on the YouTube partner program now. And now the next step is to get to 100,000 views on YouTube, and I think I'm at 97,500. It's only 2,500 views, and I've hit 100,000 views on the channel. And then the next goal is for 2,000 subscribers. So with that, if you haven't subscribed, please do, because there's plenty of gear that I want to review, plenty of walks, plenty of wild camps. I've got some long distance walks. I'm going up to Scotland later in the year, and I've got some plans for next year as well. Please like, because like is always does the videos good, and it makes me feel that what I've put into the video is worthwhile because people like it. Also, feel free to make a comment and ask me any questions about the mat that I haven't answered. Until the next video, take it easy, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, hikers.